Alrighty, I've had to start this multiple times, so hopefully the third time's a charm. So, this is my term bio project. On the next slide, it's gonna well, I'll explain what I'm doing. So, well, my idea is how over the years baseball bats have had to change, whether that be due to changing over the time of the players. So, from when Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and Shoeless Joe Jackson were hitting the bat or hitting the ball with the bat. Then Hank Aaron and Reggie Jackson and Don Mattingly, and then transitioning to Ken Griffey Jr. and Mark McGwire and Jose Canseco, and then now to um, Aaron Judge, Jose Altuve, not Ken Griffey Jr., Alex Bregman, Dansby Swanson, Cody Bellinger, just to name a couple of MLB players that are, and Bryce Harper off the top of my head. So there are some different companies that make baseball bats. So Louisville Slugger, Victus, Rawlings, Chandler Bat, Warstick, and Marucci. So there are some notable players for that swing Chandler Bat, which is the one in the bottom right corner. Is the New York Yankees outfielder Aaron Judge, who may or may not stay in New York, but he also became the AL home run champion for the American League, the most home runs in a single season, which is now he made it 62. The Mets former second baseman, I don't believe he's in MLB anymore, Robinson Cano, and then also the Phillies outfielder Bryce Harper has swung Chandler bats before. Marucci, Albert Pujols, who's recently played his last season in the MLB. Jose Batista, who I think he plays in the Mexican League, I believe. Chase Utley, who's retired from the Phillies. David Ortiz, Andrew McCutchen, Anthony Rizzo, who just extended with the Yankees. Francisco Lindor, who's the Mets shortstop. And then also recently retired catcher Buster Posey. Now, Victus, the one in the top middle. Some notable ones are Mookie Betts, Andrew Benintendi, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, George Springer, Gary Sanchez, Robinson Cano, and Bryce Harper. Has also swung Victus, but from what I've seen, his main signature bat is from Rawlings, which is the one in the top right corner. Now, there's a little sidebar that I like to say here. It says years of baseball bat, but I should have said first baseball bat or the main baseball bat that was started. Everybody knows the Louisville Slugger Museum in Louisville, Kentucky. Um, and also that's the factory where they make bats too. It has every single bat from every single player over the years. So Louisville Slugger is the oldest bats of them all. They started in 1884 by John Bud Hillerick. I don't know how to pronounce that, but that's probably butchered his name, but that's how I can say it. And then they have sold over 100 million baseball bats. And below it is 18% of baseball players in the MLB right now use Louisville Slugger. So there are multiple different types of woods that are used, but the three main that I found are maple, birch, and wood. So maple wood is the most popular. It is a dense, powerful, and durable wood that packs a punch, but is susceptible to absorbing moisture, causing the bat to become heavier over its lifespan. So if it's on like a rainy game, this is not really the wood you want to use because if it gets, I know it's covered in a paint and coating and everything like that, but if it goes, sometimes they choose the untreated, then just use the pine tar on the handle, then that'll cause it to become heavier. So birchwood is softer and more flexible, making for a more forgiving baseball bat that also gets durable the more you use it. However, the wood that is used is softer and it requires a sustainable break-in period before use. Before a birch baseball bat is ready for game use. So, say for instance, it's like a fresh bat, you have to go into the cage for it, or there's testing for it. Whoever the company is, Victus, Warstick, whoever does the birch wood is their main source of wood, then they would mostly use it. Ashwood is similar to birch, that it is softer, more flexible, and more forgiving. Ash continues to dry out over the life of the bat, so it tends to be less durable. and it's not the best choice for players who are not experienced with using wooden baseball bats. So necessarily, in other terms, it's not the beginner baseball bat. If you're like first using a baseball bat, probably maple is the most popular one of like the beginner Louisville Slugger bats at Dick's or any of the baseball retailer websites that offer wood bats. Ash isn't the best one because it's for people that have used baseball bats or the wooden baseball bats their whole entire playing career, and that's just the one that they just prefer to use. Okay, now this is a little sidebar as well. How have the baseball bats changed over time? This is from what I could get. There was a lot that I could put into a slide, and it would have been too expansive. So bat diameters have expanded and contracted over time, and also the lengths have varied as well. So you can have a 32-inch bat, which is like basically the length of a bat, or you could go 30, you can go 28. It just depends on who the player is and also how many ounces it weighs. It could be like, I don't know the exact ounces, but I know that you still want a bat that doesn't weigh a pound, but you can actually swing it and get good contact with it. It also mentions that the type of wood species or the kind of wood has transitioned over time from hickory, which was the first wood that was made from baseball bats, and then to traditional bats now like ash or maple. So like it'll have an ash finish or a maple finish, but it'll be that bat, but it'll have like a certain finish to it, or that's the kind of wood. So you'll see a black bat, and it'll be an ash to a maple wood, or I'm sorry, covering the camera, or it'll be like a black barrel and then a white, like a tan bottom. It'll still be one of the woods that I mentioned. So an alternative to those bats, obviously baseball is played sometimes all year round. So their alternative, college, little league, and select baseball, which I was a part of. I wasn't part of college. I was part of select. There are a thing called BB-Core bats, which is the one in the middle. It's from Louisville Slugger. Which are aluminum or composite bats, which are the alternative for other bats, because some people don't go. It took me a while to get used to wood, so I used these bats and then I transitioned into wood. To me, to go from wooden bats, they go from aluminum and composite bats, but there are many times where if you're playing in a certain weather element, like fall baseball, there'll be cold days where you play baseball, and on the top left is what happens when you play too much or it's just straight up cracks because it's out in the cold. And then there are some cold weather bats, which I didn't put in there, but there are some where it's actually made to withstand the cold. Now, um, so men's slow pitch softball is kind of the transition out of professional baseball or college baseball, and then it's at the bottom here, so it looks like a women's softball bat, but they're basically made to be played either in the summertime, in the fall, basically in the summer and the fall, not obviously in the winter because nobody's outside playing baseball in the winter. Yeah, so there's that bat as well. So this is my works cited. That was pretty much my entire project of baseball bats and how they've changed for weathering. To add a little sidebar, sometimes it's because that wood is just not there anymore. They could have over extinct a wood or a tree that was necessary for that bat, and it's just not used anymore. Or there's just even artificial woods that are used for baseball bats. But I know Louisville will still be, or Louisville Slugger will still have their main woods. So yeah, that's my project.